Bowl season is here. Are you ready to cash in on what you know? Where you play is as important as what you play. The pros play at mybookie.ag. All the lines, odds, and plays, both college and pro, all at mybookie.ag. Play where you get paid super fast and there's never a hassle. Step up and mybookie.ag will match your deposit with up to a 50% bonus. Use promo code JJ50 to activate the offer. Don't leave the money on the table. mybookie.ag, promo code JJ50, and your first deposit is matched up to 50%. Play where the pros play because they get paid. mybookie.ag.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head the dirt. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me a boom.
He is Jalen Anthony Rose.
What up, though?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
Together, we are Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN2. What do?
We get the people what they want.
Wednesday night, the Rockets dominated the Hornets for their 11th straight victory. Chris Paul was especially good. He scored 31 points, went 10 for 18 from the floor, and added 11 assists. But it was his defense that was really good. He held Kemba Walker to 13 points on 5 for 15 shooting. The Rockets are now first in the league in offensive efficiency, but also fifth in the league in defensive efficiency. Jalen, is the secret to the Rockets' success actually their defense this year?
The secret to the Rockets' success starts on the offensive end, and a philosophy that was championed by their general manager, Daryl Morey, and he never wavered in any way, shape, or form about building a team that can make threes at an astronomical, historic rate. Then you go and hire Mike D'Antoni, who implemented that system in Phoenix, and now it's on steroids in Houston when you have an MVP candidate in James Harden that could get you 30-plus points and lead the league in total buckets, but also lead the league in assists. Not many players are that level special to be able to do that. Then you bring in Chris Paul, future Hall of Famer, 18-9 averages, gets you 2 steals, a bulldog on the defensive end. Now all of a sudden, you're not only getting it done on the offensive end, but you add CP, as I mentioned. Trevor Ariza's still there. Tucker is a really good defender, which is why he's in the league. Capella defends his position really well and finishes down low. Now you have a team that has the ability to win on both ends of the floor.
I really think that is the difference this year with the Rockets. It's Tucker, it's Luka Mbamute, who should be back from a shoulder injury soon. And you've got Ariza, who's a good defender. And James Harden has always been sort of like not exactly known as a great lockdown defender. But CP3, watching that game last night, it said to myself, I said, I don't think CP3 is the best defender in the league, but here's my question. Is CP3 the most annoying person to have cover you in the league?
No question. Especially for a point guard. Here's why. Because usually a guy that can play defense like him doesn't get you 30 points on the other end of the floor. And also, I vividly remember against the Oklahoma City Thunder late in games, CP3 being switched on to one Kevin Durant and playing him really well late in basketball games because the Clippers never got a small forward while he was on their team, which is probably one of the multiple reasons he decided to leave that squad.
So, Jalen, something you always say is, I'm feeling myself. Do it.
Feeling myself.
Well, Clint Capella, I think, is feeling himself maybe a little too much during this Rockets streak. Here's what he said about their matchup with the Warriors. Quote,
he's speaking on the Warriors?
We have to keep the advantage on them by leading the Western Conference. It's going to be key for us to have home court advantage in the playoffs. To go over there to Oakland is obviously hard. That advantage is going to be key for us. And then he added, I expect to beat them. Jalen, what do you think about Clint saying he expects to beat the Warriors? Should the Warriors be concerned about the Rockets' success?
Well, that's just a competitor and a professional and a peer. I've sat in the locker room many times and said, we're going to thump Mike and Scotty. Shaq and Kobe has no chance. What about Akeem the Dream? I can't wait to get him out on the perimeter and put him in the hezzy. Like, that's just what comes with it. they should be confident. The way they've not only played this year, but people underestimate the fact that Houston's been amongst the top 3 in the Western Conference really the last couple of seasons as James Harden has emerged. Clint Capella has been a part of that resurgence. So I understand where he is coming from. And yes, they are a foe that's going to look the Golden State Warriors eye to eye as the season progresses.
I think that the Rockets are a legitimate threat to the Warriors in the Western Conference. I really think they are, especially when you look at a game playing on Thursday night. No Steph, no Draymond, no Zaza, no Nick Young. The Warriors could have some injury problems and lose to the Rockets in a 7-game series. Let's move on, though. Now, we'll be talking about the future of Will Smith's career. Will Smith has announced that he is producing a film based on Michael Jordan's sort of storied but not that successful run as a professional baseball player. You were entering the league right around when MJ played baseball. And my question for you is, how excited were NBA players when they found out that Michael Jordan was going to try to play baseball?
I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. There was so many great players in the league at that time that were future Hall of Famers but couldn't get a chip because Michael Jordan kept winning it. There were eras and levels to this in the 80s. Either the Lakers or the Celtics won 8 out of 10 championships. Then later in the decade, the Bad Boy Pistons got their back-to-backs. And then before you know it, the Bulls were ready. MJ was sticking out his chest. Scotty was coming into his prime. And before you know it, they went 3 straight. And then he goes to play baseball.
Everyone's like, wait, he's going to play baseball? Like Michael Jordan's going to play baseball?
People were scrambling. David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, Hakeem Olajuwon, Clyde Drexler, Reggie Miller, Mitch Richmond. So many Hall of Famers like, this is my chance to get a chip.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is not necessarily the reason why the Houston Rockets won the championship.
Yes, it is.
But I give them credit because they won the first one, though he came back later in that year. But then they followed it up with the second one. That's why I can't agree with your statement.
So you always talk about players' lost tape years. You know, you always talk about that. So here's my question for you is, do you think the Wizards stint or the baseball stint are Michael Jordan's lost tape years?
Wizards, no doubt about it. Because if he doesn't go play baseball, I can't with a straight face say that they would have won 8 straight championships because that's just insane. But
tell Bill Russell that
is the game would look a lot different had he not tried to make that transition.
Absolutely. Well, the game in the Eastern Conference would look a lot different if Gordon Hayward came back to the Celtics. Gordon Hayward is now without the walking boot, and that leads to some people speculating about his potential return, not for next season as we originally thought, but for this season. Jalen, do you believe it would be intelligent for Gordon Hayward to come back this year?
I'm a huge fan. Got a chance to cover him and Coach Brad Stevens while they were at Butler. They made back-to-back Final Four runs. I followed his game, and you know that's been one of my guys. With that being said, the gentleman shattered his leg. Can everybody fall back? I don't anticipate that he's going to play basketball this year, and that's just fine. I'm not complaining about it at all. Let him come back next year and get a full training camp, a full summer, a full training camp, and ease his way back in. We're not throwing him out there at Game 4 of the playoffs.
See, I totally agree with you. I would never, ever just want Gordon Hayward to come back in the second round of the playoffs or whatever. However, I've put a deadline on this, and it is March 25th. They play the Kings that night. If he plays March 25th, that would give him 10 games of regular season warm-up before the playoffs. Like, would you think that would be a proper amount to come back? Like, that would be an accurate time to sort of set the deadline?
Absolutely, because after you do this grueling rehab that he's going to endure, if the player is able to go, you want him to be able to compete and play basketball. That's the reward.
Jalen, are you impressed that I did some research?
I was surprised when the word research came out of your mouth. I looked twice to see if that was actually you. You know this Jalen and Jacoby, not Sports Nation.
No, I do so much more prepreparation for Sports Nation than I do for this show. I think that's what makes this show good, though. At least that's what I'm telling myself every night when I go to bed.
You wear a blazer, you got a haircut, looking handsome. Look how you show up at our program.
I'm just trying to keep the flavor of our program organic and genuine.
Bowl season is here. Are you ready to cash in on what you know? Where you play is as important as what you play. The pros play at mybookie.ag. All the lines, odds, and plays, both college and pro, all at mybookie.ag. Play where you get paid super fast and there's never a hassle. Step up and mybookie.ag will match your deposit with up to a 50% bonus. Use promo code JJ50 to activate the offer. Don't leave the money on the table. mybookie.ag, promo code JJ50, and your first deposit is matched up to 50%. Play where the pros play because they get paid. mybookie.ag.
Jalen, it's time to play soft move or boss move. The Jets' Jeremy Curley was suspended because he had a tainted urine sample. When asked about how his urine sample became tainted, on Twitter, he offered up this explanation. He said, quote, asked how a tainted supplement get in his system, Jeremy Curley said, I don't know. A lot of ghosts around here. Ghosts put it in. You know, the ghost of Christmas past. Jalen Rose, soft move or boss move, blaming your positive test on a ghost.
That's a soft move. But I want to offer a personal remedy. I'm not encouraging this for young people.
Oh, no.
I'm not encouraging this for athletes in any way, shape, or form.
Whatever you're about to say, you should reconsider.
In particular, football players.
Oh, no.
Listen up really closely.
Oh, no.
For those that compete in combat sports, in particular, boxing, MMA, and football.
And we putting it on wax.
Nobody actually cares if you fail a test for PEDs. You know why? When we watch you guys play, we like, man, it takes a lot to want to do that for a living. A physical pounding, emotionally, psychologically. And if you get suspended 5 games for taking something or 10 games, we don't remember. It doesn't matter. It's going to cost you a check. But at the same time, it's going to give me 10 more years or 5 more years or even 5 more games or 5 more fights. I do it.
Here's my thing. If you blame your failed test on a ghost, if I'm the league, I'm like, we got to test him again. We got to test him again. That doesn't make any sense. That's a failed test. I think it's a failed test about a failed test, to be honest with you. Next, Kyrie Irving came back from the second half of Wednesday night game wearing a different pair of sneakers in the first half, except this pair of sneakers, as you can see, was adorned with little pink bubbles. What are those pink bubbles? Those are lobsters. Jalen, he had a pair of sneakers with lobsters all over them. We all know how much you love lobsters. We all know how much you love lobsters. Soft move or boss move, wearing shoes with lobster polka dots.
1,000% the ultimate boss move. Kai, holla at your boy.
Shout out.
Like yourself, fellow JRLA supporter. Those kicks are fly. Size 15. You know.
He had you until you said size 15. He was like, all right, we're good. Yeah, I'll get him a pair. Size 15. Oh, no, I'm not going to be able to do it. Next, Rand Gerber, one of George Clooney's closest friends, was having a chat with MSNBC's headliners when he said that George Clooney gifted everyone in his inner circle, which is 14 people. He said he gifted them all about $1 million apiece. Is that a boss move or is that a sketchy move?
There will be people based on the climate of what's taking place in Hollywood and in entertainment that probably is going to try to go behind the curtain and see if he's trying to pay some people off as hush money or whatnot. It just makes me feel like, man, I got the wrong friends.
Yeah, I'm not giving. I was thinking about getting you maybe a sweatshirt or something. You know what I mean? But $1 million, I'd be like, George, really? George, what do you? Nothing's free in the world, George. What do you need me to do? What do you need me to do, George? Something tells me this isn't free. Like, you know, George is going to hit him up next year and be like, oh, remember that $1 million I gave you last year? Well, this year I'm going to need a little something from you. So
yeah, because you don't just give away that kind of scratch.
Next, Marcus Mariota started off his media availability by apologizing for being rude to the media on Sunday and said he had to apologize because his mom made him apologize. Listening to your mom, soft move or boss move?
Fellow mama's boy, boss move. No question about it. And the great thing about this story is the optics of a starting NFL quarterback, an amazing athlete, but understands that mom will still slap the taste out of your mouth.
I love it so much. I love it so much. Because here's the thing is, you know what? Not too many people will watch your entire press conference after the game if you're Marcus Mariota, but your mom will. You know, my mom watches this show all the time. And if I say something, I'll get a text or something. Like, moms will watch your stuff. My wife has never seen the show. Maybe once when it first started. But moms will ride or die for you. Shout to all the mama boys out there. Marcus Mariota, that is a boss move for sure.
And shout out to my mom, Jeannie Rose,
yes,
who made the name Jalen legendary.
Sure did. Shout out to Jeannie Rose. Finally, Jalen, this is your Michigan Wolverines. The University of Michigan, at a silent auction, tried to auction off game-worn Jim Harbaugh khakis with the pleats and all, little signature on the pocket, framed with a picture of him right there. The problem is the starting bid was $900, and no one bought them. Soft move or boss move, trying to sell some used pants.
It's a boss move to try to do anything for charity. The problem is there's a miscalculation. Once clothes are worn, people usually don't want them. That's basically what this sounds like to me. However, it gave me an idea for JRLA.
Uh-oh.
Maybe I need to frame my draft suit and auction that off.
Ooh, that would go for a lot. That would go for a lot. If you frame the draft suit, we got to put it up in the studio. We got to put it up in the studio if you frame the draft suit. But here's another thing. It's like, if it was a jersey, that kind of looks cool in the man cave or whatever. But, like, I don't want to see a pair of khakis on the wall in the man cave. You know, it's like, I think we might have to retire the term man cave, too. I'm just throwing that out there. That might be another one that we have to retire. But you know what? The pants just don't look good framed. A jersey does, colors, numbers, got a name on it. But I don't want to see someone else's used pants on there with, they're signed pants. Like, it's just a pair of pants from Costco, man.
And also, like, not only is it a pair of pants, but it's game worn.
Game worn pants. So I want to talk about Harbaugh, who's your guy, because I really thought the pants thing was corny until they did a feature where they took him shopping. Do you know where he gets the pants?
One of your favorite stores.
You know where that is? Costco, baby. The idea that both me and Jim Harbaugh, I never thought we had something in common, but this is what we have in common. Every single day, both me and Jim Harbaugh have an article of clothing that is Kirkland brand. Every single day I'm wearing something Kirkland. Whether it is an undershirt, whether it is underwear, whether it is socks, I rep Kirkland so hard. Kirkland makes the best everything. Kirkland has beer now, Jalen. They have Kirkland light beer. Yes. They have Kirkland liquors. They have Kirkland everything. I'm living that Kirkland lifestyle. Kirkland orange juice is the best orange juice on the market. When was the last time you were at Costco? For real.
I go to Costco. I go to Target.
Are you a member of a Costco? Yeah, you're lying. You're not even a member. Do you have a Costco card? Do you have a Costco
I have
card?
one.
You have one a long
I need
time
to
ago.
go.
You're too rich. You know what? You need to start living a regular guy lifestyle. Just for one day.
I do.
For one day,
we
should
just
have
moved
a
into
regular
a
guy
new place,
lifestyle.
and we're trying to buy things in bundles.
We'll have you fly coach. You know what I mean? Just to get down with the people. We'll have you fly coach one day. One of your cross-country flights, just so you can talk about the experience. Will you fly coach for the show?
If first class isn't available.
You're the worst.
I'm 6'8". I want to be able to walk.
Jalen,
what up, Dow?
the Rockets are on an 11-game win streak, and they've got the highest margin of victory in the NBA. They're playing defense. They're playing offense. I watched the game last night. They just look great. They look so good. And it made me start thinking about all the different streaks we've had this year. Do you remember the Celtics, that 16-game streak?
We're going streaking!
You're the best. Since the streak, they're 8-4. Why do you think that is?
There will be ebbs and flows of an NBA season unless you're the 70-plus win Bulls and the Golden State Warriors. It's an 82-game season.
Remember the Cavaliers had a 13-game streak? Well, they're 2-0 since that one loss. So they're now 15-1 in the last 16 games. Do you remember we were all worried about the Cavaliers? Do you remember after about 6 or 7 games into the season, we had topics on this show like, are the Cavaliers broken?
Everybody like who? The only thing I said was it won't take 10 games for them to figure out that Dwayne Wade shouldn't be in the starting lineup. He's flourished as a substitute, and that he and Rose weren't able to spread the floor and give LeBron James the needed space to create for himself and for his teammates. And I look at a box score, watch the game. LeBron James only had 17 assists in his last game.
Here's something about the Cavs that no one's really talking about. Do you remember when Isaiah Thomas said he expects to be back? He said December.
Yes.
Last time I checked, it's December. And if he wants to be ready for that game against the Warriors on Christmas, which I believe is on ABC, which I believe
I'll be there.
Jalen Rose will be a part of.
I'm going to be so clean.
So let's talk about that for a second, because anytime I bring up a big television appearance, you just talk about what outfit you're going to wear.
True story.
Do you already know what you're going to wear on Christmas? Because if the answer is yes, you got to reprioritize.
I know what suit I'm going to wear. I don't have the shirt and the accessories just yet. I'm rocking all Christmas colors. First, we're going to come out, since it's 7 in the morning on the West Coast. We did it last year. We're going to rock the pajamas first.
Oh, I like that.
We need to have some bacon, eggs, and hash browns on the table. Bring everybody into the living room, and then boom. It'll be kind of time to change for the rest of the day.
I like the idea that the NBA Countdown crew is a part of everybody's Christmas experience. Like Christmas is really the start of the NBA season. We all know that. But it's just, I like the idea that families just gather around. Kids are playing with their new toys. Everyone's got a meal together. And, and everyone just sits down and they get to watch Michelle Beadle, Jalen Rose, and company on NBA Countdown. And, of course, some of the best NBA games you'll see all season. But back to the Cavs, I really thought now would be about the time we started hearing about Isaiah Thomas. But you know what we hear? He played 3-on-3 in practice. Like, all right, Isaiah Thomas. Why is 3-on-3 different than playing full court?
Oh, it's a lot different. Because in 3-on-3, you don't play full court. That's the point exactly.
Okay, I thought you'd have a more eloquent answer to that one, Jalen.
I thought you'd have a more eloquent question.
Well, it seems to me if you can play 3-on-3, you can play full court.
No, they're different. You're easing your way in. Playing half court 3-on-3 with 6 individuals on the floor. And then once you get up to speed and you start to play full court, there's 10 individuals on the floor. And he had a hip injury. You don't want him to have to navigate through more bodies.
So, of course, we've talked about the Celtics 16-game streak, the Cavaliers 13-game streak, the Rockets 11-game streak. There's a team that's missing from this, Jalen. The Golden State Warriors. They currently have a 7-game win streak. They previously had a 7-game win streak. But do you feel there should be a little bit concern for Warriors fans? Because Draymond's out, Steph is out, Zaza's out, Nick Young is out. That's a lot.
No concerns as long as everybody's healthy going into the playoffs. My main concern for the Golden State Warriors is when you look at their top 8 or 10 players, really close, they're going to be relying on some people that haven't necessarily been relied on to play elite level basketball.
Caspi and Nick Young that's who I'm thinking of when you say that. Andre Iguodala, he's fine. Not worried about Sean Livingston. I mean, who knows what he can offer now. But you're looking at Omri Caspi, you're like, I don't know. Nick Young in a game 6 when you're facing elimination, I don't know how much defense he's going to give you. We'll see. So there's a lot of time before
JaVale McGee dispelled that last year playing quality minutes when they needed him.
I love JaVale McGee so much. I really do.
Shout out.
He always reminds me of the Drew League. Jalen, how's your stint in the Drew League? Because I remember a couple years ago you were talking about playing.
I know. That should have went down. I'm as healthy now as ever, though.
Really?
I didn't realize Fat Jalen was stopping my knee from getting healthy.
Do you think once you lose 40 pounds, your knees feel a little bit better? So, Jalen, here's what's going to happen. One thing I didn't know is that they have a media Drew League. They have a Drew League for media members. Yeah. The Podfather told me about it. The Ringer had a team. I didn't get an invite. No one said, hey, Jalen and Jacoby, do you guys want to put the staff together so we can have a media team?
Oh, I might have to go play in that league and be Wilt Chamberlain.
But that's what I was about to say. I was like, if you're going to play in the Drew League, is it more likely you play in the actual Drew League with pro players and semi-pro players or the media Drew League with a bunch of scrubs?
I'd rather play in the media Drew League, no doubt.
I saw some team pictures from the media Drew League, and I was like, oh, we got this. We got the tallest staff. We got the tallest staff in the history of television. We really do. We
need to play next year.
And I think Tanner could be our point guard. Tanner, who runs the television box. I mean, if he balls anything like he bowls, We're good. We're good money. We are good money. Jalen, Paul George made his return to Indiana and the Thunder. He got booed. He said he was glad that the circus was over with. Do you think he deserved to be booed?
Yes. And Paul George's family.
Shout out.
It wasn't the fact that he was either traded, which you have no control over. I went through that as a Pacer when I got moved to the Bulls. It wasn't the fact that he left as a free agent like KD did with OKC and then subtweeted about why he left. He acknowledged that he didn't want to be there while he was still playing in uniform, which led to them needing to move him. And on paper, a lot of people didn't feel like they got the requisite parts in return. So if you are able to move him and then Oladipo plays like he's playing now and Paul George returns, if you have passionate fans, which the Pacers have some of the best fans in the game, they're going to be really creative about how they jeer you in your return. He wasn't surprised. You weren't surprised. Nobody was surprised.
Have you ever been booed before?
Of course.
When did you get booed?
I got booed. You mean like being traded from a team?
Or when I understand, like when you were on the Bulls, you guys were bad, and if you're down 20 at the end of the first quarter, you're going to get booed as a team. But do you ever get booed as Jalen Rose?
I got booed when I returned as a member of the Raptors to play for the Bulls.
Really? Why did Chicago turn on you?
Because they slandered my name in the media before they moved me.
Oh, that sounds like a story I'd like to hear. How'd they slander your name in the media?
Well, they talked about things that you couldn't prove, like, you know, what type of person is he? What kind of habits does he have? Like, what type of, you know, things is he doing off wax or whatever? So what ends up happening is, before you know it, I was playing 40 minutes, then I'm playing 35, then I'm playing 30, and then before you know it, I'm not starting.
On the Bulls? On that Bulls team?
Yeah.
Who are they starting over you? Do you remember?
I ain't gonna even say the people's name because I don't want them to feel like I'm throwing shade. But what I will say, yes, there was a period of time I was probably 10th in the league in scoring, and I wasn't starting.
Interesting. Well, if your preparation and work habits on the Bulls were anything like your preparation and work habits on Jalen and Jacoby, I would have slandered you too.
But I love so many media members in Chicago and their fans. Had a couple of celebrity weekends there. Gave back to the community so much. People actually think that's my hometown when they see me out and about. The media was great. Actually won the Magic Johnson Media Award while I was there.
Jalen, Disney bought a bunch of Fox properties for $52 billion.
What does that mean?
I don't know either. But we got the regional sports networks, and I went and did Sports Nation today.
Shout out.
And Michelle was like, oh, no, we own like all Century 21 Fox movies now. I don't understand the implications here. But something tells me this is good for Disney. Because that's a lot of money. They spent $52 billion on it. I get that. But, man, Fox has made a lot of movies. They've got a lot of properties. There's a lot of implications in terms of streaming devices and all of that. And big shout out to Disney and the decision makers there. I don't really understand the implications because I'm not that intelligent. If you listen to this show, you know that Jalen and I aren't exactly business. You know, we're not exactly running the business here at Disney. But to the people that are, made this, and shout out to everybody involved.
I'm happy because a lot of times you work for a company that's been as successful as Disney and ABC and ESPN, and people want to take shots at the throne. And one of the things people say is, oh, okay, well, since they've had a couple of unfortunate instances where they've had to lay off people and how are the ratings doing, people try to create the narrative that ESPN is actually struggling or going somewhere. And then I just get in my puff voice, we ain't going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. So I feel a sense of pride when I work somewhere and they write a check for $52 billion.
Exactly. And like, there is this perception out there. Like, sometimes my friends will go, is everything okay at ESPN? It's like, yes, everything's okay at ESPN. We just spent $52 billion. We wrote a $52 billion check. So, if we have $52 billion to spend on this, something tells me that we're going to be fine.
One of the things I think...
My producer said it's a stock deal, not a check deal. Look, I understand. Okay.
One of the things that may take place in this deal, and obviously in the future we'll see how this progresses, as the company that exclusively has rights to the NBA Finals, I wonder if this affects local NBA broadcasts that were originally Fox.
They're on ESPN now. Those will be ESPN-branded local channels.
Which now will be branded ESPN. That's
exactly.
a terrific get.
Exactly. Well, the Yes Network, there's all kinds of implications. All the local baseball games, all the local basketball games, all of those networks. All those networks that I watch all the time. That's where I get my Clippers.
So that's more jobs right there. Boom.
Exactly. Well, there's another business deal I want to talk to you about. The NBA made a deal to broadcast the G League on Twitch. Jalen, do you know what Twitch is? You're not the demo, so don't worry about it.
I actually don't know what Twitch is.
Twitch is like this video game streaming service.
And there's no joke I can make that's
appropriate for it.
That's appropriate.
Yeah. Don't do it. Don't get fired. But Twitch is like a video game streaming service. So if I'm playing a popular video game, I go on Twitch and you can kind of watch it with me and comment. It's like a second screen experience for a video game. And it's interesting because a lot of younger people are getting video through Twitch. Twitch is blowing up. And I think this is really interesting for the G League and the NBA because like much things about the G League, it's a test kitchen. It's just it's a place where they test things. The G League does. And I think they're testing this digital streaming out because the NBA is looking at the future of media and saying a lot of people are going to be watching things on their phone. A lot of people are not going to be sitting down and using the remote control and clicking on it and, pushing the guide or looking at their list. A lot of people are watching on-demand content, streaming content, phone content, and this would be an interesting way to see if they actually transition this into actual basketball games.
The NBA is so on fire that it's leaving the sport that I love, football, such in the dust, especially on the NFL level. They've dealt with so many issues and had to navigate so many circumstances. And I'm not even just talking about what Colin Kaepernick led that turned into protests during the national anthem, which I commend, applaud, standing ovation, any player that participated in any way, shape, or form. But I'm talking about long-term issues, opioids, concussions, fights. How about what just took place, unfortunately, at NFL Network? Like, these are things that, man, their brand has taken a big-time hit this year. And lastly, in the NBA, you don't see players taking shots at the commissioner or owners coming out talking negative about him. That takes place frequently in the NFL for a guy that's getting $50 million a year. There seems to be a disconnect.
It certainly does.
As far as I'm concerned.
So when we talk about the NBA versus the NFL, which we've done before, it's like it seems clearly that the NBA is the league of the future, but currently they still get dwarfed by ratings by the NFL games. They still get dwarfed with revenue, but I'm telling you, it's like, yeah, you might be losing on the scoreboard right now, but in the future, the NBA is coming because the NBA is more positioned to be the league of the future. You remember when, America, baseball was America's pastime? It's not anymore. It's not America's pastime anymore. And I can see the same thing coming with the National Football League. I'm
going to give everyone something to acknowledge the designation of how the NBA is such the future over the NFL that no one ever discusses. You talk about the digital rights. Think about this. When I'm looking at my telephone at night, I can watch NBA basketball. When I'm looking at my telephone on Sunday night or Monday night, I can't watch NFL football.
Well, the ESPN app, you can watch NFL football on Monday night.
That's one. Number two, how about this? Name me the best international NFL player currently in the game.
Trying to think. I know I'm missing something big here. I can't.
My point exactly. NBA is a global sport not only for the fans, but for the participants. You can go to the older players like Dirk and Tim Duncan, but then you can go to the younger players like Greek freaking Porzingis.
Mm-hmm.
Same can't be said for the NFL.
Jalen, the next topic is something that I know is very close to your heart and a big part of your life. It's wine.
Yes.
They did a study, and they have found in the last 300 years, wine glasses are now 5 times the size that they used to be.
Here's what I own when I'm at home. And you can at Molly right now and ask her. I used to be the guy at home with the wine glass, stemless that is, most of the time.
I like stemless too. Stem doesn't make no sense.
Shout out.
Pouring myself 33% of the glass.
Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to talk to you about this. That's exactly what I was going to talk about, Jalen Rose.
Why am I doing that?
What is this, just for optics? I'll never take a glass of orange juice and just fill it like 1/3 of the way and be like, nah, I'm good. It looks better and I need the orange juice to breathe. I take a wine glass and I put as much wine in there as I want to drink.
I take a wine glass and do the exact same thing.
Thank you. That's exactly where I was going to go with this conversation. And that's why these wine glasses got 5 times as big. What is this, just for optics that I pour it halfway? And don't talk to me about, the wine needs to breathe. Because you know what? The wine I'm drinking isn't that important.
And don't talk to me about any ethics. Okay?
Yeah.
I understand when you go to a restaurant or when you out and about, they want to give you 1/3 of a glass so you can have to buy 3 to actually get 1. I get that. But other than that, I'm at the crib. I'm filling up the glass.
I'm filling up the glass too, Jalen. I'm glad you brought this up because my wife said something to me about it too. And it's just like, here's the thing, Joey. I don't want to fill it up halfway, drink it, and get up off the couch and fill it up halfway again. And it's the oxygen, exposure to oxygen unlocks the flavor in the wine.
She intelligent.
Yeah,
we're not that smart.
Yeah, it's exposure to oxygen. I went to a restaurant once in New York City, and I was by myself. And they really have good, like, flatbread pizza. It was great. I ordered one of those. And I ordered myself a bottle of wine. You know, I probably wasn't going to drink the whole thing, but I didn't want to keep getting glass after glass. Don't judge me. And
never.
The lady goes, and she started, I was like, hey, can you pour me? And she goes, no, just wait for it to breathe. And I was like, no, I'm not going to wait here 5 minutes and just stare at my wine. It doesn't need to breathe. The first glass won't breathe. The other glasses can breathe, okay?
And also, for those that talk about the wine breathing, guess why the wine can't breathe? The only time it gets a chance to even consider breathing is while I'm holding it in my hand. Other than that, I'm drinking it.
We got some of our familiar faces here. Some of our associate producers. Always appreciate the people that give us content, that write us questions on the daily. Like my man, the greatest mail carrier in the history of not just the country, but the species.
The homie!
My man Big Crown has a question. This is for Reggie, because Reggie really cares about these conversations. Is Zach Randolph a Hall of Famer?
No.
That's no. Yeah, that's no. He's an All-Dark Alley Hall of Fame. You know?
That's more important.
He's All-Dark Alley Hall of Fame.
That's way more important. But here's what I will say about my brother. Is that with limited athleticism, he continues to defy the odds and show people that if you know the real estate on the basketball court and how to maneuver your body and have all of the requisite skills, he's good enough on the post. He's good enough mid-range. He's tough enough. He rebounds for his position. He just had 30-plus points recently for the Kings.
So about this Kings team, apparently Vince Carter, Zach Randolph, and George Hill are upset because this King team was supposed to, be in the playoffs. Like they were kind of sold this bill of goods that you come to Sacramento, we'll build this nucleus, and we're going to make a playoff run. My question for you is, Jalen, do you think they really believe that?
No.
George Hill, holla at your boy. I got the message that you want to get some advice about building a school in Naptown. With that being said, I don't think they looked at the Western Conference standings.
Exactly. I just think it's one of those things where in every preseason, every team is like, maybe we can make a playoff run. Before the first game of the regular season, every team is like, maybe we'll make a playoff run. You look at every roster is full of professional players. You look at any starting 5 in the NBA, you're like, I could see this. I can see this coming together.
And also, as a player, you got to look at it like this. You guys are the 3 players that we giving the bread to.
Yep.
So therefore, if we're going to make the playoffs, it's going to be because you guys
Yes.
are balling out of control.
They're
Like,
not,
who
they're
else
not
do you
asking
expect us
Willie
to go sign?
Cauley-Stein and De'Aaron Fox to take them to the playoffs. They're asking Zebo and Vince and George Hill to take them to the playoffs. So if we're not in the playoffs, you should look in the mirror first before you start pointing the finger at me if you're the front office.
Keep getting them checks, though. Shout out to Vincent Lamar Carter.
Oh no. Jalen, oh no. D. Scott has a good question that I don't think we discussed on Wax. How's Jalen's fantasy team doing?
I got bounced.
Talk about it. Tell the people.
Lost
Get on the
first
couch.
playoff game. I lost 6 of my last 7 games.
Wow. Oh, that's tough.
Hey, man, it's tough around the house, man. You got to understand, I got a co-manager. I got a co-owner. You know what I'm saying? And she constantly is looking over my shoulder about these decisions that I ultimately make.
Well, you got some answering to do.
And number one is, I told you shouldn't have put the money in. We could have used that money for so many other things.
You can't. No, putting the money in. That's a prerequisite for any fantasy league.
That's one. But number two, here's what truly happened to the squad. I can't blame this guy because he's having a terrific rookie year. But when Leonard Fournette had his 3 or 4 weeks where once he got injured, then he got suspended by the team, then he came back a couple of weeks and he struggled to kind of get his rhythm back going, that happened at a bad time for me. It truly did. I lost Deshaun Watson.
That hurt. Because Deshaun Watson, did you pick him up in the draft or did you pick him up like
No, I picked him up at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, see that if he was still in the league, that can carry you to a championship.
No doubt, just having him.
Oh, I love Deshaun Watson so much. He was my favorite player in the league for those 4 weeks or whatever he was playing. I mean, I was watching Texans games like that was my hometown team.
And it's hard to win a championship when you lose your first pick, which Odell Beckham was.
I love this next question. It's from Gary. Soft move or boss move? Pretending you can fix the car of a girl you like, but actually getting your friend the mechanic to do it.
That's a soft move.
That's a boss move. So I'm a New Yorker, right? I don't know about cars.
I represent the Bronx, but I am a New Yorker.
I don't know about cars. I can't fix engines. I don't know what a radiator does. I don't know what the belt does. I don't know where you put the coolant in. I can't change oil. I can change a tire if I'm in the desert, but I'd much rather just call AAA and have them change it for me. My neighbor was downstairs at the garage. He lives in the back house, and he had a full mechanic jumpsuit on. He was underneath the car with ratchets, had putting big metal plates on the car. And I looked at him, and I was like, that's a man right there. I will never be a man like that. Could you fix a car if you had to? Could you change your oil right now if you had to?
No, and I don't want to. I could change a tire.
That's what I said. I could change a tire. It's not that hard. You jack it up, unscrew, put the
Here's
wheel on,
what I can do.
You don't think I could change a tire, Reggie? No. Come on, Reg.
Wow.
The hardest.
Wow, that's.
Reggie just says it's not that easy to do it. Here's the thing. The hardest part is jacking it up, but now they put a little big X that says put the jack here. Like before you had to figure out where to put the jack. That was hard. But if you have a new car, there's a big thing that says put the jack right here. I could change a tire.
I remember the old school jacks where you really had to lift up the whip. But with that being said, here's what I can do to a vehicle. I can give it oil. I can give it coolant. I could give it wiper fluid.
Okay.
I can get it washed.
Can I pitch a segment for the show that we'll never do? I want to do a race between me and Jalen where all the variables are the same, where we each have to change a tire. Because you know what? We're just not those guys. You know, it's just I blame it on living in New York for 15 years, only having a car for the past 4 or 5 years. And
I blame it on selling out.
Yeah, being rich. You're rich.
Because I used to be more handy, but now it's so funny.
Task Rabbit, baby. Task Rabbit.
How about this?
Task Rabbit.
So here's the thing. Molly just realized that I'm not handy around the house.
How'd she figure that out? Because I could just look at you and know that. Just Google Jalen Rose. A dude spent 20 years in the NBA. Of course he ain't handy around the house.
So it's like, okay, great. We got these nice curtains that we gonna put up. So I'm looking like, so who you think gonna put the rod up there? You know
Yeah. So my wife goes to me like our toilet wasn't working. You had to like open the top of the toilet and push down the floater to get it to refill up with water. It was really annoying. And she goes to me, she goes, why don't you just fix the toilet? And I'm like, you know who you married, right? We've been together for 15 years. How many toilets you see me fix? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to Google it on YouTube, go to the hardware store, get some stuff, go back, have that stuff not work, go back to the hardware store, and then use that. And that's not going to work. Get one more piece from the hardware store. And next thing you know, I spent 4 hours in the toilet. You know what else I can do? Have some guy come and fix it.
And you sound like a man to me, because what I did is I'm like, we need to find a handyman.
Now, see, all you have to do see now, Jalen, I could put rods up. I've put curtain rods up. It's 3 screws. Do you have a drill? Do you have a toolbox?
No.
You think I'm about to drill these hands?
Are you serious? You don't have a drill at your house? You don't have
You
a
think I'm
toolbox?
about to drill these hands?
You don't have a toolbox? Jalen, you know what a drill is, right?
I do know what a drill
You
is.
basically just squeeze the trigger like a gun. It ain't that hard, yeah.
Zoom, zoom. And if the hole's too big, the hole's too small, the
Always,
hole's not right,
always.
I'm putting multiple holes in my walls, not going to be able to do it.
Everything looks so easy when you read the instructions, and then you get in there to actually do it, and there's some mistake.
No.
And then I end up doing it like
No.
80%, and my wife always points out the janky part, and I'm just like, look,
Correct.
I know it's a little janky, but it works. So deal with it. I didn't see you drilling any holes in the wall.
Nah, fam. I got one word for everything that need to get done at the house. Contractor.
You know, I'm so concerned that my wife listens to this one segment. You know what I mean? Because she doesn't listen to us anymore. She used to listen to the show while she drove around. Now she's just NPR'd out. If she's listening to this one segment, I'm sorry, Joey. I love you very much. You're the best.
Shout out.
Whenever we need straight talk, we turn to you, our listeners, and our voicemail. If you call 985-80-JALEN, leave us a voicemail. We'll play it on the show just like this.
Jalen, Jacoby. What's up, y'all? This is Jesse G from Atlanta, Georgia. Forever pimping, never slipping. That's how it is. That's how it was. That's how it's gonna be. I'm listening to y'all, and I've heard the history of how Jalen feels about the Cinnamon Challenge, and I just want to commend you, Jacoby, on sending it to him the long way. I was sitting right there, bro, waiting for you to accept the challenge. Oh, my God. Thank you for accepting. I can't wait for Detroit not to make the playoffs and for Jalen to get a mouthful of some glorious cinnamon. But if you put some apple cider, whatever with it, it'll be like his little concoction. So he'll be all right. Whoop, whoop.
Jesse G just made Jalen laugh harder than I have in 6 years. Here's what happened. In case you missed yesterday's show, Jalen Rose, I said that the Pistons are in danger of not making the playoffs. After the hot start, they've now lost 7 games in a row. And Jalen Rose said they will make the playoffs. And then he just offers up, if they don't make the playoffs, I will do the Cinnamon Challenge. Now, just give you a little history. Jalen doesn't do bets like this. Jalen, like I said that I would skydive for the show. We could film it. Jalen's like, I'm not skydiving. Jalen, we should do the 1 chip challenge where you try that hot chip. Jalen's like, I'm not going to try that. Jalen basically is like, I'm rich, I'm famous, I'm an NBA basketball player. I don't have to do things I don't want to do. I do things I do want to do in my life. And then during the break in the segment, after he said this, he would do the Cinnamon Challenge, if the Pistons made the playoffs, what did you say, Jalen?
I just watched those words come out of my mouth. My heart was speaking for my brain. And before you know it, I could not take it back. But also, here's why you're my brother and you don't even realize. Just subliminally, you actually just said the Pistons is the bet to make the playoffs, not the Lions. So I'm rolling with that.
That was the bet, Jalen. It wasn't the Lions.
Yep.
You forgot the bet, didn't you?
Oh,
Admit it. Be
well,
honest, be
I'm
real.
good then.
Be honest, be real. Be honest, be real. You thought it was the Lions when you woke up this morning.
I did.
Do you know what it is? It's the Pistons.
I
it's
thought
the Pistons.
about it too.
The Lions,
I'm like,
Lions
man.
ain't making the playoffs.
I looked at their schedule and everything.
It ain't happening. The Lions is over. The Pistons, however, I don't know. Didn't you once say that the Lions were going to win the conference?
What?
I don't know if that's going to happen, Jay.
Tell me if anybody saw what happened in Minnesota taking place.
Well, Jalen, that doesn't mean you didn't say it.
I did say it.
You did say
I didn't
it.
think Minnesota would be as good replacing Teddy Bridgewater and Sam Bradford.
Listen.
Case Keenum came out of nowhere and been balling.
You guys will end up third in the conference, but thank the Detroit fans will thank the Bears and Mitchell Trubisky for not making them the worst team in the conference.
Pistons definitely making the playoffs. I'm good.
Don't forget, leave us voicemails by calling 985-80-JALEN. If they're good and Reggie likes them, he'll pick them and play them on the show, just like this.
Hey guys, what up, though? Man, I'm riding on the way to work, listening to last night's episode. I'm on the East Coast, but check it out. I'm a writer. I'm an editor, and I was just interested because I know you guys do production and things like that. What hip hop stories do y'all feel like need to be told that haven't been told? Jalen, I saw EPMD on Drink Champs. They told a crazy story. And I've been listening to y'all podcast 5+ years, and I've never heard you. I heard you refer to it, but I've never heard you actually tell the story. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But just out of curiosity, and Jacoby, I would like your input as well. What kind of hip hop stories do y'all feel like are interesting that haven't been told? And also, I do want to say, Jalen, you a cool dude, but that intro is lame. It's actually lame because you think it's so cold. I mean, Beastie Boys, they legends, but what's so fly about using the sample of them saying that live on stage, putting it on wax? Like, that's not fly, bruh. But, because you cool, and because, you know what I'm saying, you don't take yourself too serious, you know what I mean? It's alright, I guess. But anyway, that's what it is, man. I hope y'all continue to do what you do. 100.
Oh, see, there's a lot I love about this. There's a lot I love about this. He's like, I know you guys work in production. I'm a writer. Let's build together. Let's collaborate. Let's meet eye to eye. I listen to you guys all the time. You know, you guys are dope. And then at the end, he's like, oh, by the way, your intro's whack, and Jalen, you're corny. You know, it's like, was the point of the call to find out what hip-hop stories we like, or was the point of the call to diss the intro? And then not only that, he dissed the intro, and he dissed the fact about how much you love it.
Yep.
So which one do you want to address, the intro, or do you want to address the hip-hop stories that haven't been told?
I think the ultimate hip-hop stories
Oh, I got one.
that have not been told that intrigue me would probably be a story that refers to the origin of everything that took place at Bad Boy Records.
Oh, that's good. That's good because there's a lot of branches there. There's a lot of different personalities and a lot of different branches. It's not just the story of Puffy. There's so many different artists involved. See, I was thinking Wu-Tang along the same lines. Is the Wu-Tang documentary or the Wu-Tang scripted movie is basically like the Avengers. You've got different superheroes with different skills coming together, you know, to take over hip-hop. But Bad Boy's interesting, too.
Well, the fascinating thing is I got love for Puff. Number in the phone right now. Want to go visit his school in Harlem. Big shout to Dr. Steve Perry, one of my mentors in education, who's helping him with that project.
What did you save Puff's name as in your phone?
Diddy.
Oh, okay. Could have gone a lot of different ways there. Yeah, that's smart.
But if you look at the paper and you say, man, let's check out Bad Boy's roster, Frenchie's still on there going strong, and Diddy's number one on the Forbes list without even dropping an album.
Oh, yeah. And another thing is, I want to address the intro, is, you know what we don't do? We don't have meetings and talk about the intro and decide what Jalen's going to say and what I'm going to say. The very first time we did this program, back when I had to push record in the control room and then come in and do the show myself, Jalen just started singing and give the people what they want in the very first show. If I'm not mistaken. That could be urban legend, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. And
facts on facts on facts.
Jalen didn't say, guess what? I'm going to sing this when we start, you know, and when you say this and then I say that.
Now that's corny.
Yeah, I'm just looking across the table from some dude that started singing, and you know what? We've done it every single show since then. So I thought about it, and we spoke about it. I thought about changing the intro. I thought about it. I did.
So a couple of things to unpack. He's not referring to the Pop the Trunk version of the intro.
No.
Unless I'm mistaken, because that's cold. That's fresh. That's dope.
He's referring to you saying on the cool check-in.
When I say what up, doe, that's a homage that represents my hometown of Detroit. Just like if you from the Bay, they say hella. Just like if you from NY, they were saying B. The list goes on and on. There are certain terms that are relative to where somebody represents as their hometown. I say and on the cool check-in to represent my brother David Jacoby, who represents the East Coast and loves the Beastie Boys even more than I do.
I love the Beastie Boys.
And putting the Beastie Boys and my brother together in my mind just takes me back to Raising Hell Tour, Joe Louis Arena, when they came out on stage and I didn't even know who they were. And when they said, and on the cool check-in, center stage on the mic, I just looked left and looked right. And when the new style bass dropped, boom, we was doing just like the song, ho, 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 ho.
I will say this is, first of all, we appreciate all of our listeners, especially people that take the time to call and leave us voicemails. Like, I'm not
especially this guy who's been listening to us for
he's been listening to a long
5.5 years.
So
he is a part of the family. You can call and get on me. It's all
If
love.
you don't think the intros fly, then that's fine. But as we just described, it means something to us. So until an executive tells us to change it, that's going to be the intro. But once an executive calls and says change the intro, we'll change the intro. Thank you so much for the call. Let's listen to one more voicemail.
Hey, Jalen and Jacoby. This is Jeff from Wisconsin. What up, dope? I'm sitting here with my dog, Rufus, and your last podcast really brought out two things I wanted to call about. One was, when you guys were talking about Lonzo wearing that shirt with Nas, in that description, when you guys started talking about Lonzo doing rapping, it sounded like someone relieved themselves. I caught that. Rather interesting. Neither of you acknowledged that on the air, but someone relieved themselves. Listen to that message again. It was dope. On top of that, a soft move or boss move. You guys started talking about wearing long underwear and wearing swim shorts if you don't have any drawers underneath to be able to wear. A question for you, soft move or boss move. Should I listen to my wife's demand that I don't go out commando anymore? Keep giving the people what they want. Keep collecting those checks. Dope.
Wow. Jeff in Wisconsin.
First off, nobody relieved themselves.
Yeah.
That didn't happen.
No. But that might have just been some sort of just audio mix thing. But first of all, Rufus is a great name for a dog. Shout to Rufus.
And Shaka Khan.
Shout out.
What?
You never heard of Rufus and Shaka Khan?
No, man. No.
Oh, my goodness. Shaka Khan will be the artist featured on our program Friday. We're not waiting till Wednesday. Please continue.
I've heard of Shaka Khan. I just don't know the association with Rufus.
It's not cultural.
And next, you should listen to your wife. You know? First of all, she cares enough to, she cares enough. So just listen to her. Because you know what? You're married. There's only one person that sees your draws. It's not you. So if that one person has a problem with the way that your draws are going, then you should change it. Because no one else on the planet is going to see your draws.
And also, again, not to get too personal, but I'm not going commando. I'm good.
Yeah, I'll go commando when it's necessary. When it's necessary.
I'm good.
You know what I don't do? I don't clean my pants that much. So I'm not going commando.
You can rock them a few times, but that's not your underwear. That's different.
Let's listen to another voicemail.
Jalen and Jacoby, what up, though? Shout out to Reg. Keep getting them checks, homie. This has been Rock from Louisville, Kentucky. Now, it's been about 30, 45 degrees for the last month or so out here. No snow, a little bit of wind, but I wear shorts to work. I have long socks, that meet the shorts, so you can't see any skin, every day to work. But my coworkers think I'm crazy. But the only time I'm outside is, walking to the car for lunch or when I get off. So I need to know, am I crazy or are they just tripping?
You're not crazy, you're just cultural.
I need answers. I'm a person. You get the people what they want, right? Out.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate the love.
Shout out.
I'll let my brother Jacoby chime in on that. But for me, you're not crazy. It's just cultural.
There is a certain type of white dude that will wear shorts in any weather. I see them in this industry, like the gaffers, or the cameramen at Monday Night Football. You'll see them at the Packers game holding the big heavy camera over their shoulder with the winter coat and the hoodie underneath the winter coat and some shorts on. And here's one thing I want to say about winter dressing. I've never understood this part because you don't wear shorts when you live in New York. In New York City, on the hottest day of the year, I will wear jeans some drawers, and some socks. In New York City, on the coldest day of the year, the bottom half of my body will be covered with jeans and some drawers and some socks. For some reason, we really only adjust our upper torso to the seasons. I don't understand why that is. I don't get it.
Fair point. But also, you don't wear long johns.
No, I do. I did. There's certain days where you have to wear long johns, but I only own like one pair for those special days.
And that statement isn't true because you don't always wear like white gym shoes in the winter. You probably wear
some boots. Sure, but I mean, sure, you can poke holes in it, but you
said from the waist down, you dressing the same. If you wear long johns and boots, that ain't the same.
I wear sneakers. I only wear boots when it's actually snowing or there's a lot of slushy snow on the ground.
I only wear boots when I have to walk in it.
If you call 985-80, Jalen, you can leave us a voicemail.
That's not true. I wear boots all the time.
Hi, Jalen and Jacoby. This is Shiva from the Bay Area. I think we should just stop mentioning Lonzo Ball's name in the same sentence as Nas. He's obviously just trying to use Nas' fame for his game. And honestly, not only is Nas one of the best rappers of all time, in my opinion, the best, but he brings a social consciousness to his music. I mean, listen to Rule. Listen to What Goes Around. You'll learn so much about, like, war and, safe sex and everything, just about everything. He's got such a great social consciousness. Just listening to him will open to your mind to a lot of stuff. So he just needs to stop going after Nas. That's ridiculous. But we talk a lot about male rappers, and I was wondering, who are your favorite female rappers? I'm a kid who grew up in the 90s, so of course my favorite female rapper is Foxy Brown. Who are your favorite rappers? Thanks. Bye.
Great question. Let's address the second one first. My favorite female rapper of all time is Lauryn Hill. And second, I'm going to go with MC Lyte.
Rolling. And since you mentioned those, I'll take a couple of more of my favorites. Lil' Kim, Remy Ma, Salt and Pepper.
Currently, Young M.A. I love Young M.A.
Young M.A.
Love Young M.A.
Representing the crib.
But she does have a good point about this Lonzo Nas
thing. Queen Latifah.
Because Lonzo is getting shine based on Nas's name at this point.
That's why Nas ignoring him.
Well, Nas kind of didn't ignore him when he played against the Knicks. After the Knicks won the game, he Instagrammed a Knick logo.
He's still ignoring him.
He is a little bit. But it's I always believe in don't beef down, So I guess Lonzo's like, if I'm going to start anything with any rapper, let me just go with the best of all time. But man, you don't want Nas to record 2 bars about you. No. You don't want Nas to even think about your name in the studio.
You don't even want him to write your name on a piece of paper.
He will. I predict that in the upcoming months, we'll get one line. We'll get one line about Lonzo. We won't get a song. We won't get a verse.
But
there'll be a ball pun. You'll see. There'll be something like a sneak diss involving the word ball and a pun, and you will hear that before Valentine's Day from Nasir Jones. Putting it on wax. Let's listen to another voicemail.
Hey, guys. What's happening? Name's James. Just moved to Florida a couple months ago. I want to give a shout-out to everybody. For all of y'all, even the janitors, everybody gets love today. For all of y'all teaming together and giving the people what we want. All day and every day. I drive an hour to work, so I listen to your podcast quite a bit, and I just got done listening to, the Woman Crush Wednesday voicemails and episodes, and y'all were talking about Uber right at the end, and I want to know a soft move or boss move. If an Uber driver notices it's one of y'all getting into the Uber, and I know y'all have this don't talk etiquette thing, but what if they start playing your podcast while you're in the car? Because from your perspective, it's probably a soft move because you're like, man, I don't want to hear this. You spend all day getting the show together and everything. But from the driver's perspective, he's like, oh, man, I'm going to show them that I'm a big fan. I'm playing their podcast for them. This is a boss move. So boss. Because Jalen and Jacoby, they may not rhyme, but they dropping bars. So anyway, I just want to get y'all's opinion on that, how y'all feel versus how us, the fans, will probably be like, this is the most boss move I could do for these guys to show love. Anyway, keep getting them checks, keep giving the people what they want. One love. Peace.
I've had an Uber driver show me that he listens to the pod, but I think it would be a little weird if he just started playing it without recognizing that he knows who I am. You know, obviously, I'm not as recognizable as my co-host, Mr. Rose, but one thing I just want to correct about it, James, first of all, shout to you. Shout to your new move. And just commuting an hour to work is a boss move in its own right. And listening to Jalen and Jacoby, we appreciate it. I'm glad that you choose to spend time with us every day. But when you say working and preparing the show all day, that's only one half of the Jalen and Jacoby duo.
Preach.
You know, like Jalen doesn't spend too much time worrying about Jalen and Jacoby during the day.
I'll tell you what I do. I'll come in 60 seconds before we go on there. That's my preparation.
But, Jalen, I know you've had Uber drivers recognize you. What do they say?
A couple of times, what people will do is actually show me that they're real fans of the program. So they'll show me on their phone, because a lot of times you had a navigation and the phone's already up. They just show you like, yo, I ain't fronting. Like, I really support. And that's not creepy. That's not
it's love.
Something that we get tired of. That's love. This is why we take the time and energy to do this program. For those that don't know the origin of this program, this wasn't in our contracts for the first 4 years we were doing.
No, this is volunteer work. This was volunteer work. We were doing it for the love. We were doing it for the love. And we appreciate all of our listeners, especially people like James that listen every day to the podcast. You can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. If you already subscribed, tell your friends to subscribe. Thank you so much for making us part of your day. Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.